Have you ever regretted something you've said? Maybe out of anger or frustration, and then once the anger has subsided, you wish you could have done it differently. Well, I'd like to share with you a way of communicating with authenticity and with care for the other person at the same time. So that we can get along. And I also want to share with you a way to go back and clean up our messes if they've happened, both literally and figuratively. My name is Loren Swift. I am the founder and creative director of the Peaceful Pines Center, located near Grass Valley. And we are a budding learning and retreat center for social and environmental sustainability. What I call social sustainability is doing what it takes to get along with each other so that we can collaborate peacefully and gracefully attend to solving the problems that are in front of us, both locally and globally. I've been a seeker all my life. I always had the big questions. Who am I? Why are we here? What is life about? I think I was 13 when I started reading about the great religions. And I continued reading through my teens until the time I was 16. I started spouting spiritual concepts as if I knew something. Teenagers really do know everything, don't they? And then it's a long downhill slide from there, realizing how much I really don't know. But I guess I was being my typical know-it-all, snotty teenage self one time, and my mother deftly commented, "Wow, you really talk a lot of highfalutin ideas, but you really don't live them, do you?" Ouch. I learned two important things from this. One is that just because I think something is true or right or good doesn't mean that I know how to live it. Not the same thing as living it. And I really don't have a clue how to live these things that matter so much to me. So I've spent really all my life, decades, personal growth, spiritual practice, spiritual study, became a psychotherapist. And what I've come to see is that at these various points, I'm faced with this excruciating pain of the discrepancy between my aspirations of how I'd like to be in the world and what really matters to me and how I show up. It's painful. But what I have found is that it takes a certain amount of courage, actually, to navigate that pain of the discrepancy and to realize that, okay, I'm human, I'm trying, I'm on the path. And with that comes some quality of self-acceptance. And with that comes some quality of self-compassion. And with self-compassion, it extends easily then. It's a lot easier to extend compassion out to other people. Then, in around 2002 or 3, I stumbled onto nonviolent communication. And I was struck immediately with the power that it had. It offered these practical skills to actually live these values that matter to me so much on a day-to-day basis, from moment to moment. I was dumbfounded. Let me ask you all a question. If your life was exactly as you would love it to be, right now, what are some words that would describe that for you? And I'd really love you to hear you yell them up, and I will repeat them so that we can all hear them. Spacious. Playful. Content. Free. Compassion. Peaceful. Energized. Happy. Joyous. Healthy. Relaxed. inspired, connected. So, thank you. Pardon? Give it to the world. So what I have found is that no matter who the group is that I ask this question to, the same list is engendered. So what that tells me is that we all share the same fundamental values, aspirations, the qualities of life that really matter to us. And the brilliant thing about nonviolent communication is that it gives us these words as a way to tap into our underlying connectedness. The great famous mythologist Joseph Campbell once said that we are in need of a global mythology. He understood that unless we see ourselves as one planet and as one global community, that with our current cultural and nationalistic stories of separation and domination, that it would lead to our destruction. And a teacher of mine once said that we live in the age of the marriage of science and mysticism. And so we see with the new physics, quantum mechanics, and the new scientific research that what the great mystics knew all along by direct experience is true. We are all connected. There is only one. There's only one fabric of life out of which everything is springing. In her book, The Field, Lynn McTaggart makes very accessible the richness of thought available in quantum physics. And she explains the scientific underpinnings for a whole new understanding of the nature of reality. At a time when we still are sporting a 200,000-year-old animal brain focused on survival, fight or flight, and 400 to 500-year-old assumptions about the nature of reality, that everything is disconnected, discrete objects separated by empty space, combined with this awesome technology that where we could actually destroy the world, we live in a very precarious position. The wonderful visionary of our time, Barbara Marx Hubbard, puts our current crises in terms of evolution itself. She points out that throughout all of evolution, life has come to numerous crisis points where it seemed that life was doomed. And time again, life meets the challenge. It transcends the current circumstances and evolves into a whole new form of life. I, for one, find this incredibly empowering way to look at things and hopeful. That we actually are life itself, that we are the face of evolution moving forward. She actually says that we, as Homo sapiens, are evolving into a new form which she calls Homo universalis. So, one of the qualities of life that matters significantly to most people is connection and belonging. And research has shown that people who prioritize human connection in their lives also have self-compassion, which then makes it easier to extend compassion out to other people. And they also have courage, the courage to show up authentically and open-heartedly, which of course is what it takes to have true connection with other people. So these are all qualities of life which are engendered in the nonviolent communication model and consciousness. Now, if we add empathy into the mix, we have a formula for a new constructive way of communicating collaboratively. Empathy means seeing things from another person's perspective, from another person's point of view. And as it turns out, when we have the experience of being fully heard and fully understood from our perspective, it has a very healing and heart-opening effect. I'm a tough nut, and I am learning to do these things. These are all learnable skills. If I can learn to do these things, I think anybody can. So, let's see, hang on a minute. Another aspect of this collaborative communication is shared power, which we call power with in nonviolent communication as opposed to power over. I want to tell you a little story. When I was first learning nonviolent communication, and my daughter was about 6 or 7 years old, I was really tired one evening and I was really fed up with the mess in her bedroom. So I blurted out, "I want to go to your room and clean it up right now." So, being an astute child and having heard me talk about nonviolent communication and been to a couple of the workshops with me, she walked up, put her little hands on her hips and said, "Okay, fine, Mom, use power over." So I had one of my first opportunities to go back and clean up my mess. And it's really a sweet and beautiful opportunity to have to reestablish connection when it's been broken. So I went to her and I said, "Oh, sweetie, I really regret speaking to you that way. I really want to hold you with care and consideration all the time because you matter so much to me. Can we go sit down and talk about how we're going to get your room cleaned up?" So I think that we are actually using this way of relating and interacting at the Peaceful Pine Center. We are practicing living the solutions that are available environmentally and collaboratively. We are relating with courage, open-heartedly. We're stretching into holding each other with equal care. And of course, there's always plenty of room to go back and clean up our messes. And we are working to live sustainably with permaculture and eco-friendly approaches. I think that social sustainability is the nuts and bolts for making this great shift doable. I think it's the grease for getting along, for communicating collaboratively, for doing what needs to be done to solve the problems, like cleaning up the messes that we've made on the planet. So, in summary, it seems to me that we are changing our story from one of separation and domination to one of inclusion and collaboration, because we're realizing we are one planet, we are one global community, because we know we're all connected. We're meeting the challenges with courage. Courage means with heart. We're moving forward with an open heart, aligned with our values as much as we can, and with which we have names, that we can name them with these qualities of life offered through nonviolent communication. And we're focused on the solutions, which begin and end with cooperation, which comes from open-heartedness, which comes from mutual understanding, which comes from empathic connection, which is an aspect of this common ground of being that we're all part of. Literally, the common ground of the planet, as well as the internal ground that we share. With this skill set, we have access to speaking from our hearts and listening with our hearts. And I think this is living our new story of connection and collaboration, both in our local and our global communities. Thank you.